Was the rise of Skywalker the decline of Star Wars as a whole? Let's make sense of that.
Take that.
What's up, guys? This is Nerds Make Sense. I'm Manuel, and I'm here with.
I'm Josh.
I'm Ted.
Okay, and today we are going to talk about.
And you sound so happy to be here.
I don't think any of us are. You probably are, but we're not. We're here to talk about.
I love doing this.
We're here to talk about Rise of Skywalker. We just saw it. Was it 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2
From
days
the time
ago.
that we're recording this?
Yeah, we went and saw it like at the night premiere, and we were up hella late to watch this movie.
Yeah, we did it for the buffalo wings, though.
That's what was driving me this whole time. We went out for buffalo wings afterwards, and I was like, "Oh, thank God."
That's probably going to end up having to become a movie tradition for us now after this one.
Absolutely. Oh, anyway, I'm sure my introduction to this channel was my Star Wars opinion, so I'm pretty sure it's very, very apparent my opinions about Star Wars as a whole. Ted has also made his voice heard.
Yeah, you both hate Star Wars.
No, see, that's where it's wrong.
I know. I'm being facetious.
So with this,
I hate Star Wars. No, I'm kidding.
with this, I think we should just talk about the good
The bad
And the ugly.
And
bad,
the
because I'm not trying to sit here.
I don't know. Do we need copyright to even say that?
Should we? I don't want to sit here and talk scene by scene because
Yeah, no. But there are going to be spoilers, so be aware.
Yeah.
This is not a spoiler-free review.
Spoiler filled.
This is, definitely going to be spoiler-filled. But no, we're not going to... We don't have to do it linear. We never really do, anyways. And we're not going to go scene by scene, because that's another thing that we don't do. It would take forever to do
We did that once. We did that for Endgame where we went scene by scene, and that was as long as the movie
Yeah,
itself.
it was.
so
It was bad.
So we'll start off with the good, I guess.
Yeah, we'll start out with the good. It'll be real short.
So, Josh, you can go first because you have a lot more good than all of us.
Okay, so overall, the movie itself, I enjoyed. Okay, I know you guys didn't care
Talk
for it
about
as
the
much.
good. Talk about
The good parts. You can't just say the movie because
so-
that's a lie.
I like how they fixed a lot of stuff from The Last Jedi. They redeemed Luke, in a sense. They made him more of the Jedi we always expected him to be. Especially the scene where where she takes his lightsaber and is throwing it into the fire, and then all of a sudden his Force Ghost hand comes out of the fire, grabs it, and he walks up to her and says, "A Jedi's weapon should be treated with more respect," because that's what we all wanted from Last Jedi. That's what we expected but what we got, of course, in Last Jedi was Luke tossing it over his shoulder and down on the rocks. So I liked that little bit of redemption. Another thing that I personally really enjoyed was the fact that while there were little hints of, Finn still basically having feelings for Rey, they didn't focus on that anymore. They took the shift. They shifted away from that and actually made Finn his own character instead of just being a support for everybody else. Let's see what else. I love seeing Lando again. It was great seeing him again. One of the other great parts, the choreography was so much better in this movie. The fight scenes were so much better. And then, of course, everybody loves Dark Ray. Everybody loves Dark Ray.
Is that part of your good parts?
Yeah.
Those are still his good parts.
Oh my goodness.
I'm waiting for some.
You guys, well, all right. Let's see. Well, what are some of the parts that you guys like then?
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm
Okay. How long was that? That was
All right.
2 minutes.
I enjoyed more, but I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say.
So what I liked, let me go because this is like I got a couple. So what
Because I feel like you guys are gonna be like really fucking nitpicky.
no, because then the whole world's nitpicky. But then what I really like is that they actually did something cool. Well, it's a bittersweet thing. So they brought up the reason why the Sith had the rules of two. It wasn't because what they said they wanted to originally. It was because they always had a second one that the master trained, a Padawan like usual, so they could be struck down by them and their essence would be transferred to them. That's what I kind of like. That's a cool.
I thought that was
that was cool, but then it kind of goes back and erases a lot of stuff about what they had already from the previous ones. But I like that. What I also liked is the choreography. One thing I was really looking for was the choreography because I was really upset in The Last Jedi. It was just a bunch of flailing and swinging, but the choreography in the fights in this one were done really good. I mean, there was only a couple of them, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
There was only a couple of them.
They were pretty short, but they
did this. They did it justice for what they had.
Yeah. So the scenes looked well done. They looked really interesting.
Everything looked great.
They drove home all the points they needed to make in each scene. So like for all of the scenes in this one, we were supposed to notice that Rey was being a lot more forceful, a lot more angry because there was all the hints of her like turning to the dark side and all that stuff. So there was a lot of like heavy two-handed hits that we normally saw from Kylo.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of that stuff, and then just a lot of the that stuff they did when they played with the scenes because they were fighting each other from two different places, whatever. Which they did like 4 fucking times from this fucking movie. And I was like, all right, can they just like actually fight now? Like, do we have to keep doing this? But yeah, like so the choreography was just tons better. It just felt. It looked better and it just felt more meaningful.
Yeah, like I was actually on my toes on everything they did. Like I was like, oh, can't wait. What's gonna happen? Compared to the last one, I also like all the scenery was great. Everything looked great. It looked really done well. I liked the end. One of the ending parts. Well, what I did like, which I told Josh before, I got spoiled because there was really no way, except for me running out of the room and not seeing it. There was, like I told him, like there was the final trailer that was shown during a basketball game or a football game. I seen that one, and I didn't expect any more trailers to come out other than remix trailers. But there was a trailer that came out when I was watching TV, and it was on TV. Unless I would have ran out the room and like spoilers, I wasn't gonna do that. But there was the scene in the very beginning of the movie where he finds, where Kylo finds Sidious. He was like, "My boy, I have been." Every voice that you heard inside your head, and it went from Sidious, it went from Snoke, and then went from Darth Vader. That scene would have been so amazing if I would have seen it in theaters.
Yeah.
But it was a new scene that was put out in a trailer on TV. But that scene was really great. Just the switching between the voices were really cool. Very intimidating. It made me feel like, whoa, that was cool. And I really liked that part. I really liked in the end, like the final battle they had between Sidious and Rey and I already forgot, and Kylo or Ben at this point.
Yeah.
I really liked it when their life force or the force or whatever was taken from them.
It was basically the way he made it seem is like, well, so the Sith power that he was using was basically life drain or essence drain or whatever, but he made it seem like it was because of the incredibly strong bond that they had that was allowing them to do the whole teleportation thing with items.
Supposedly it was supposed to be. Well, they said that was supposed to be like they were split. So basically, it was usually seen in one person, right? But they're split between two people.
So basically, when they made that connection, the person would see the other person where they were.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only because, remember, when Rey was fighting Kylo, she was in his quarters, and then Kylo was on the planet, but he didn't know that she was on the ship until after Vader's helmet fell through, and he's like, I know where she is.
Yeah, so I like the scene after that part, and she's looking up at the sky, and she's like, I forgot what she was saying.
She was saying, "Be with me."
Yeah, be with me, and then you hear the voices of all the other Jedi from all.
That was cool.
It was cool. I was hoping they would put faces to it because this is like the last one for a while now. I mean, they didn't have to be like reshot. It could have just been their faces. I probably would have been okay with that. But you hear the voices, but it went so fast, like I couldn't enjoy all of them because I was like, oh.
My brother, he pointed out something, and I kind of made reference to this, but he made reference to it a long time ago because we were like kind of hoping that it, not necessarily hoping, but it's like it would have been kind of neat to see like the whole. You know how in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, when their wands connect and the spirits of those that Voldemort had killed came out and helped Harry. Yeah. So we were kind of like hoping to see that with like Mace Windu and Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker and all them.
Like the scene from Gurren Lagann where it's the double helix of people.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I wanted all the Jedi to be there.
Yeah.
So that scene was cool.
There were even a couple of voices I didn't recognize.
Like who?
There were a couple of female voices I didn't recognize.
Female voices?
Yeah.
All I wanted to hear was Anakin.
I think there was only Leia.
Yeah, it was only.
No, there were a couple of different female voices in there.
Oh well, it could have been Ahsoka.
It could have been
I don't remember hearing any women.
I heard Leia.
I did hear Leia.
It didn't help that
I heard Leia. I recognized
It didn't help
Obi-Wan.
that I wanted to see Anakin this whole fucking.
I heard Anakin. I heard.
Anakin spoke a couple of times.
Yeah, I heard Mace Windu. Heard Yoda.
Yeah, Mace
heard fucking Qui-Gon Jinn.
Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor.
Because of course, Sir Alec Guinness is passed.
He's been passed.
So, been dead long time.
And I think I heard the one dude. Honestly, I thought I heard him, but I wasn't sure. The conehead dude.
Oh, Coyote Mundi?
I thought I heard him.
I'm not sure. I think that maybe they added like all of the Jedi that we saw in episodes 1, 2, and 3. So
yeah,
that's why I'm saying. I thought maybe I heard a few female voices that I didn't recognize.
I thought it was like all of the Jedi Council or whatever. Sorry.
Yeah, you hear Yoda.
Maybe Yaddle was in there too.
Yaddle.
He would have said something stupid. I don't know. Take care of my son.
Hey, we don't even know if Baby Yoda's even alive still at that point.
He is. Anyway,
you have no idea.
Fucking say that again. He's living forever.
Yeah.
Well,
living to be 1,000.
probably
you won't
probably
make it to this
for
point
about
if you keep
900
talking
years.
Like
But yeah, so that scene was definitely cool. The scene of all the ships coming out of hyperspace with Lando.
That was alright.
That was awesome. Just to see all of that.
It was okay.
But one thing.
It would have took a long time to make all that, like the hand sketch all the different ships. That was pretty. I already knew that was hard.
But it's like one question that did raise for me was like, where were all these ships at the end of Last Jedi when Leia called out for help?
Well, bro, because like at this point, didn't they blow up everything? Didn't they blow up the Last Republic in that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the movie before, but I mean, these are not just Republic ships. He goes at one point in the movie. He says, "Oh, where did they get this fleet from?" It's not a fleet.
Well,
it's just people.
And Leia just put out a call, but like they sent Lando out. They're like, Lando, go get some ships. So like there's any number of things he could have been doing.
What happened to I forgot. In the Last Jedi, something happened. Okay, in Force Awakens, they blew up the Republic, right?
They blew up.
They blew up.
That planet.
The homeworld of the New Republic.
Okay,
basically.
so and then it's like, oh well, they blew up the last Resistance, in the space, right? Well, they didn't blow it up.
Well, they blew up all the ships that they had at the time.
Yeah, so at this point, they already knew that Kylo Ren had him in the corner, and they're calling. I wouldn't want to go fucking risk myself for something that sounds like.
Okay, but my question is if you're not willing to go risk yourself for that, and you know that the Emperor has a fleet of literal planet-killing Star Destroyers, why are you going to go help then?
Because they're far away from where their homes are at, so I might as well just go try to blow them up.
You guys, I think you guys are focusing on the wrong point. I feel like Lando has connections.
Yeah,
and he called in favors.
Oh, and Leia doesn't?
But she didn't call in favors. She's just like, hey,
Help!
hey,
Help!
hey, hey, But Lando went out there. He's like, hey, so you remember how I basically own your ass for like ever because I did this thing for you? And he's like, yeah.
Yes, he owns that many people.
Yes, he does.
Bet.
Bro, he was like he was like the leader of a planet for like a long time.
Emmanuel made a good point. He's a good smooth talker. Like,
Yeah, and he was like he's just one of those people, you know. Like
no, I'm not.
He's been around.
I'm not denying the abilities of Lando. I'm just saying that's just
and for that one part.
It's a little far fetched.
And one part Manuel's talking about is something I'm going to talk about on the parts I didn't like. So we'll get back to that. And that part will probably make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ship scenes and everything, the space battle, even though it was short for what they had it, because obviously it was more focused on the Sidious, Rey, and Vanguard. But the space battle they had and everything was pretty good for what it was.
It was alright. As far as liking things, did I like? The one thing I've liked about all the Star Wars so far. Puppets.
Oh yeah,
all of the puppets,
bro.
all of the makeup, all of the costumes, dude. I love it.
Hurt my ears.
Good.
It was funny, and me and Manuel said it at the same time, but Manuel said it really louder than I did in the very beginning when they showed him on the ice planet when they were trying to find the mole, and they showed like all these new characters out of nowhere, and it showed that big blob thing. Manuel goes, "What the fuck is that?" It was funny because I turned to him, I was like, "Dude, I don't know who the fuck that is."
Because he was on the ship and they flashed him a few times. I'm like, why is he there?
Yeah.
Like, we don't even know his name, and then he's just gone. After they get back, he just leaves, and we never see him again.
No, we get one shot of him later.
It's at the end, yeah.
Oh my god! But
He's celebrating with everybody.
But they put in everybody in there. Like fucking Iron Man was there. They made so many freaking people like just be there. I'm like, bro, didn't all of you die? Like what?
Bro, Manuel got what he wanted, and I don't.
Yeah, and that's one thing on my good list. Kylo Ren's dead. Ben Solo is also dead. If you want to be that kind of person, they're both dead.
It's the same fucking person.
All the Skywalkers are dead.
Finally. Anyway,
bro, you know what's funny? You know what part I liked, and Manuel see me do it. I didn't think no one would see me do it. And then when they got stuck in the quicksand, and they were like, "Wait!" and everyone's falling, and it's just silent. I went. I started clapping and Manuel see me clap.
Oh,
that was like best movie ever.
Oh, that was so
funny. You have any other good things?
I don't
Josh?
have any.
Let's see.
You said you have more than us. That's what we had.
We went for longer.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like I said, I did enjoy it, but it's like there wasn't really anything spectacular about the movie, in a sense. I will agree. I will agree with you guys on that point. It wasn't like the best thing in the world, as some people are saying.
Yeah, because the very next day I told Manuel when I got to work, I said I wanted to see. Because I know you try to say that we're biased because of The Last Jedi. I was like, all right, let me see if I'm biased. Let me go see what everyone else had to say good about this movie. And there's only, from today that I checked before I came, there's only 2 reviews out there that are good.
Really? Because here's the thing. So the critics have. So I looked on. I don't even know if this means anything to you, but I looked on Rotten Tomatoes. And the critic review are at 56%. The fan reviews are up in the 80%.
When I went to look for reviews, there are 2 Star Wars people channels reviews that say they love the movie. Every other Star Wars reviewer or Star Wars fan on YouTube is downhill.
But my thing is,
one of them I feel like he's saying it because he has to say it.
And
he was paid.
That's what I feel like.
No, you're talking about Star Wars Theory, right?
I don't know who that is. Is that the guy you like?
Yeah, that's the guy I listen to all the time.
Yeah, I feel like
he's not getting paid though. That's the thing.
I
mean, trust me, he's not getting paid.
I feel like
Disney pretty much tried to sue him for the rights of using a song in his own fan film. He's not getting paid by Disney.
That's what he gets. So is that all the good things?
That's all I can remember.
Okay, is that any good things?
Yeah.
I'll start. So can I start?
Those were the really good things.
Can I start with the bad? I know.
Let's go. Let's
'cause
start.
I'm pretty sure we have the same. So if you have,
What's your first bad thing?
all right. Before I say this, because a lot of people are asking me off the scenes. I already wrote some of the things that bothered me on our Instagram page, but I did not. This movie did not make me hate Star Wars. I still love Star Wars. I love the lore. I love the characters. I love everything about Star Wars. It's just the director they went with these last two movies that made me not like it. And so, with that being said, I did not like this. I did not love this movie, but at the same time, I didn't like it either. Like, I'm not gonna. If you ask me, should I go see it? Go ahead, go see it. This isn't as bad as The Last Jedi. I'll say that.
It's nowhere near as bad as The Last
It's
Jedi.
not. So, but what I have, there's so many things wrong with this movie. I called when I wrote on Instagram, as I said, this isn't called The Rise of Skywalker. This is called the Rise of the this is Star Wars retcon, because they're trying to sweep under the rug what happened in The Last Jedi. That they're just like, okay, let's make this. They're gonna love this. They're gonna love that. Oh, they're gonna love this cool part. This part's gonna be the. They're just doing stuff to sweep it under the rug to make it a good ending. And one of the things I don't like is how fast paced the first part of this whole movie is. As soon as the crawl ends, dude, you're Kylo. He's killing everybody. He's finding the relic. He already found Palpatine, and you just see Palpatine, which I thought we were gonna see like maybe midway through the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so fast paced, and after that, we're on the Millennium Falcon.
We're going through that whole freaking first scene.
The first scene, and then it's just there, and they're like, Mo, and I was like, and it happened so fast that I think, did they say, well, I know now, but I was like, in my head when that part happened, I was like, did they say there's a mole in their team, or is there a mole in the bad guys team?
In the First Order.
It took me so long to think of it until later they said it. And then they're zooming off, whatever, and then it's just so fascinating. And after that whole thing, we're back with Kylo. I'm just like, whoa, okay.
And then for some reason, the Knights of Ren are there.
Yeah, the Knights of Ren are there. Yeah, and then
where have they been the whole freaking time?
They're so useless.
This is the first time I ever saw them, and I was like, "Those are the Knights of Ren."
No,
I've seen them.
We see them in the.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, this is the first time I see them, and I'm like, I look at them like that's the Knights of Ren. Every other time they've been here, they felt like they weren't really there, and they weren't like defined as being them.
Do they even have voices?
No, they don't.
No,
and this is the first time like I ever saw them like actually do something either, because they like fought, but they only fought for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, and I told you guys this. The reason they did what they did with Rise of Skywalker is because of Rian Johnson.
Yes.
He backed them into a corner.
Yes, and that was part of when we first talked about this. One of my things was and I'm not even like J.J. Abrams probably shouldn't have done this one, because I don't even think he wanted to be a part of this at all. Really,
well, he didn't.
He did a good enough job for reigniting people's passions for Star Wars.
Yeah.
With The Force Awakens.
And that's the thing about J.J. Abrams, and I think I mentioned this to you guys the other day. He likes to start stuff and then hand it off to other people to continue. He wants that flavor from all these different people adding on to something that he's started. It's what he did with Star Trek. It's what he did with Lost. Even though he stayed on as like an executive producer of both, what he does is he starts stuff, hands it off to somebody else he believes is capable, and then allows them to add on.
Because, I feel like with J.J. Abrams did, I feel like he did what he can do, like you said. He did what he could do.
Yeah.
And I feel like half of this was written already, and then he's like, all right, what can I do with this? I'll do my best, I guess. Because
I feel like he was working with whatever he had, and not just with Rian Johnson's what he did with that movie, because he very much railroaded that movie, but also he
railroaded fans.
Yeah,
totally.
And he had to work with what came off of that movie, and I'm pretty sure somebody else, because there was supposed to be another person doing this. I'm pretty sure they had something already, and he didn't have time to make.
They told him no. Else. Yeah, I researched it when we got home. He was supposed to do it. They're like, no, J.J. Abrams is coming and gonna do this.
Yeah.
Because it was like,
Well, yeah, it's basically the only option they had. Honestly, I think the worst thing
they
that
should
ever
have
happened.
fucking gave George Lucas to do it.
The worst thing that ever happened to Star Wars is not Disney, but Kathleen Kennedy.
That's the Lucasfilm lady, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is if she next year, if she doesn't step down from what she's doing, because you know what? Because I said it a long time ago. I said
She's the worst thing to happen to Star Wars since Jar Jar Binks.
And see, I don't even think I said. I think I mentioned it on our Star Wars whatever. Oh, it's not even here. That's why the Star Wars video we did before. Mm-hmm. But I said it off screen when she announced that there's 3 new movies coming out. Each one's gonna have a different director. I'm not a director. I'm not a screenwriter. I don't do no productions. But when I heard that, I was like, that's a stupid idea.
Well, not necessarily, because if you pick the
look
right...
what happened.
No. If you pick the right directors, then you're good. But the problem is,
you'd have to pick a team of directors who are familiar with each other.
Yes.
Which
at least familiar with what they're working with.
Yeah, which is
they
not...
They have to understand what's coming from.
But it's still even hard to do like that, because like even there's not a lot of groups of directors who are like that close, who have similar styles, who have similar ideologies. Like they can they share something in common, but there's no way they can all take a chapter of a long story and then make it all cohesive. Could 3 directors, if you said all 3 directors are working on all 3 of these movies, possibly it could probably work out. But I'm like, no, he's taking the front, he's taking the middle, he's taking the end. It's just not smart.
And
it really
is.
isn't.
Telling them that they can do what they want. It was a stupid idea.
Yeah, no,
you're
that was stupid. That was stupid.
If she ever hears this, you're stupid.
Yeah, because even with Marvel works so well because even though you have different directors, like nobody's trying to.
You have Kevin Feige keeping it all together.
So you have that, but you also don't have like one person doing the beginning part, one person doing the middle, and one person doing the end. You know, like there's like, oh, he's doing this side over here, and we're doing over here. But like Kevin Feige's like, okay, so that's happening over here. Okay, well, just so you know, you can do this over here.
You said his last name right for the first time ever.
No, I give him a pass because he's upset. Yeah. It's okay.
That's your Christmas present.
That's because he's upset.
Yeah. And then and so he's like, so there's still direction and everything, and like people are still allowed to do, and we've gotten so much creative stuff through the Marvel things. Like Black Panther was really good,
and that's what they're gonna need. They're gonna, if they in 7 years or 6 years, whenever they come back, they're gonna need someone like Kevin Feige. I'm not saying he should. Well, he joked about wanting to do it too, but if he's
got so much on his plate if
they need someone to be there to be like, no, you don't do that.
Yeah,
that's not a good idea.
Honestly, I think if they can even keep J.J. Abrams around in that kind of a role, because what he did with Force Awakens was the perfect setup point.
When I seen Force Awakens, I never, because like, you know, it's been a while since
corny, but it gave me a new hope.
I love Star Wars. Like I love Star Wars, and like it's been a while since I've seen Star Wars, other than something new, you know. Yeah. But when I seen it, I thought I was watching the first time I've ever seen a Star Wars movie. Yeah, like it reignited that.
Yeah.
And yes, there were corny things like, you know, stuff that, you know, like, but I'll turn away from it.
No, I mean, what I was saying, the little pun I used was a little corny.
I got it.
It was
I got it.
But some things
he missed it.
Yeah. I'm
but yeah, no, I get it.
There's some things in there I'm like, you know what? It's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What can they do? I had to say it.
Well, the whole thing was they were trying to not only introduce something new, but they were trying to bring back the old loyal fans of the original trilogy.
Yeah. Like they're bringing the
wins. So honestly, and the biggest criticism that is incredibly fair for The Force Awakens is like, well, it was just episode 4 again. I'm like, you know what? I can see that. It did just feel like episode 4 again. But it was supposed to be episode 4 for people 40 years later.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And it felt like the perfect starting point to the handoff that was supposed to come. Mm-hmm. And then Rian Johnson went in and screwed that all up. Now, so in the past, I've defended Last Jedi, and I still don't say it was a terrible movie. I still don't think it was as bad as a lot of people say it was from a cinematic standing point. I think from a cinematic standing point, if you take it completely just on its own, it wasn't a terrible movie.
But you can't do that, though.
But now, with everything else, if you put it in context, even with The Rise of Skywalker, it's a bad Star Wars movie.
Yeah, because it's like right there next to Solo.
Because
Solo's better than that.
I mean, yes, there was a lot wrong with the big fight scene choreography, but the acting was done extremely well. The story was cohesive. It wasn't what we wanted.
That's fair. But, so, like you said, if it was self-contained. So if he just made his own movie. If Rian Johnson was like, I'm going to make my own
That's like when they
space
did Venom.
sci-fi epic. And he did this, and all of these things happened. And it wasn't Luke Skywalker. It wasn't Rey. It wasn't any of these people. I'm like, that could have been an okay story. I probably would have liked it.
And I feel like he did all that anyways to just, like, do his own little thing that he's planning on.
Yeah, I feel like he didn't want to make a Star Wars movie. He wanted to make his own sci-fi movie.
Yeah. I mean, what really turned me against Rian Johnson was when I read one of the comments that he made. And it was
it recently?
No, it was shortly after the release and everybody was just going apeshit. He goes, my whole plan was to make a movie where half the people loved it and half the people hated it.
And that's what I brought up too. I'm like, because that is the stupidest shit to do, especially with something that has this deep of a following.
Exactly, yes. And I completely agree with you on that one. If it had been something completely of his own design or something that was just completely standalone, didn't have anything to do with it, all right. Be my guest. Be that divisive. You know, raise the debate. But there's a way, and I mean, there could have been a way to do that, but yet still be loyal to the fans. He was making a movie. He wasn't making a Star Wars movie. He just happened to make a movie that had the Star Wars label on it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And like I said, it wasn't a terrible movie from a cinematic standpoint. Yes, there were things wrong with it, obviously. Like I said, about the choreography, especially in that last fight scene, was terrible. It was terrible. But, and my grandmother's in there watching the football game. This is the joys of not having a recording studio. But anyways, Rise of Skywalker obviously fixed a lot of that. And, they were left... They really weren't left with much of an option because of what Rian Johnson did. But even now, I am willing to admit that Last Jedi is not a good Star Wars movie. It is a bad Star Wars movie. But it's still not my least favorite. It's my second least favorite.
Incredible.
But of course, you guys know what my least favorite is.
Yes. So even with that,
dude, I'd take Solo over Attack of the Clones any day.
I love Attack of the Clones. Anyway,
you know my gripes about Hayden Christensen acting in that movie.
Even with giving this movie all of those those pardons, because you're like, oh, I know what he had to deal with, I know all this stuff, and I'm like, but there's still so much. I don't want to give him the credit of working with what he had, and everything, but it's still so because that doesn't matter at all. The fact of the matter is what we got afterwards.
Yeah. What we got in Rise of Skywalker felt like it would have been a better Episode 8.
It felt like it. Yeah, it felt because that's pretty much what he had to do here. He had to make an Episode 8 and
8.5.
Episode 9. He had to do that. So that's pretty much why I feel like the first
rushed.
part of the movie is we're going through all this stuff. Even the scroll felt like there was just a lot in there that
Kylo finding Palpatine would have been a perfect way to end Episode 8.
You know what I didn't think about, and it didn't cross my mind until I seen a freaking article written about it. You know in the crawl where it says Palpatine's voice heard, right? And we don't see it. You know what that's referencing? When they showed it on fucking Fortnite.
Yes!
You would have never knew that unless you watched them release it on Fortnite. Really? They showed the scene where they, when she fucking force tricked those two stormtroopers. She was like, whatever. After they left, right? It was just a sneak preview. You voted on what you wanted to see. They left, And then all of a sudden, all these battle cruisers in Palpatine's voice, word from what the scroll said, was like, I am back, and I am here for the revenge of the Sith. And no one would have knew it unless you played Fortnite. And I seen it because I watched a streamer do it. I just want to see what.
So does that make Fortnite in
Yes.
the Star Wars universe?
Yes, that's what everybody's saying.
What?
Yes.
And that's ridiculous, okay? No one should have to play a game to understand a reference that's being told in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care how big the game
So,
is.
Unless it wasn't just in one game.
No,
it was only in Fortnite.
Okay.
It was a Fortnite event. And then another thing I was reading too was Ryan Johnson sticking his fucking nose in this shit anymore again. I'm like, just shut up. You ruined it. You fucked up. Just go. And he was like, because people were criticizing his characterization of Luke specifically, which sucked. All right, and
even Mark Hamill said it sucked.
Yeah, and I came up with a better way to do it after I was reading what he said. He's like, well, I was trying to make a character who had like depth and all this other stuff. I didn't want him to just be a superhero.
Luke already had depth.
Yeah, and so I'm like, I thought about it for a second, and I had to think. I'm like, oh, that's not what he's doing. I'm like, so I was like, I understand they wanted him to have some flaw or something, but what he did.
Trust me, he had plenty of flaws.
So even taking how it ties into Kylo's origin somehow. You know what I mean? Luke's flaw, because it ties to the last movies too, the original trilogy, was that he was too forgiving. You know what I mean? Because he was so ready to forgive his father, like he was like not gonna fight him, not gonna kill him in that last movie. I'm like, that could have played in to Kylo's origin a little bit. He was like. Yeah. He could have noticed some bad signs, and Kylo was like, no, this is my nephew, this is my family, this is my blood. Leia and Han made this kid. There's no way it's going to turn out that way.
So, basically...
And then hold on. And then it would also tie back to the prequel trilogy, where we had this with Anakin. Yeah. Anakin said and did a lot of fucked up shit, and they were just like, whatever. You know, and so it would thematically fit with both of these other trilogies, still making Luke... flawed in a way that he was not willing to see these things, you know, and that could still drive him into exile. Where he's like, I messed up. I was like, I thought I was in tune with the Force, but I wasn't, and I'm here trying to reconnect. And so he is so far up his own ass that he can't see that there's a million other ways to do what he says he's trying to do. Yeah. He did it that way specifically because he knew it was going to piss people off.
Yeah. And he was trying to divide the fan base, and he successfully did that. Mm-hmm. Because he
thinks he's a galaxy brain for it. He thinks he's so smart. He's like, yes, people are mad. They're triggered. Yeah, that's him.
No, you can't do that with a fan base like Star Wars. You can't do that with any kind of fan base like that has that. It's so ingrained within the culture of what's been created. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, Star Wars is a part of. At the very least, American culture. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, it was. Yeah, I totally agree. What he did was stupid. Good movie, bad Star Wars movie.
You know what else is like? So was like with the movie, movie.
Oh, like, yeah. Go ahead.
I forgot. I lost it.
What I was going to say before when you told me to hold it. It's basically, so in Legends, I don't know if you guys have ever read any of the books.
No. I can't read.
So, in Legends, instead of Leia just having one child, she actually has three. Yeah, I know that part. Of course, she has twins named Jason and Jaina, and of course, Jason eventually goes to the dark side. And basically, it's exactly... What happens with Luke is exactly what you said. He sees signs but is in denial of it the whole time. It's like, so in the sequel series after that one, it's like, yeah, I saw all these signs, I should have seen it. You know, they're right for basically exiling me from Coruscant for this. I need to figure out where he went wrong in the first place and where I went wrong. That would have been so much better. Mm. Honestly, if they'd just given us Legends, it would have been so much better.
And then you know what? And then it would tie into this movie as well, where Rey's got this tie to the dark side. It would tie in more. He's like, well, I don't know if I want to teach you, because I don't know if you're gonna tie the dark side, because I actually sense it in you for some reason. I didn't sense it with Kylo. For you, hella darkness, bad vibes all around.
And I mean,
and
here's the thing. Even through Force Awakens, through Last Jedi, and through Rise of Skywalker, you could tell that Kylo or Ben had never truly gone completely over to the dark side. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did some fucked up shit. But what was one thing he never had? He never had the yellow eyes of a Sith. Yeah. So you knew there was going to be a redemption arc at some point.
Yeah, well, I mean, from anything, just how these movies roll is that I knew we were going to get a redemption arc for him, but from the first...
The kiss was horrible.
Yeah, oh god, that was fucking awful. Oh, it's the worst.
Did you hear how many people in the theater just went, ew?
Yes, because it was so stupid. Nobody wanted that, except for like a loud fucking subset of weirdos. Like, it was just awful. Yeah. But like from the first movie, I'm like, he's gonna get redeemed. I'm not gonna like it, but whatever. And then in the second movie, I'm like, God, please don't redeem him. Just don't. Like, just let him fucking die. Let his redemption be that he just dies.
My thing with Kylo is that as much as bad as it was, Kylo's like whole journey came from the beginning to end. Like, he had his journey compared to any other character that's on this in this show.
He had so much potential.
And I loved Kylo from the beginning. Like, I still do, even though he had like a crazy thing. Like, I still love him. And he went from like being this guy, and then the second one, he's just like going crazy. And this one, he finally sees he has that mental talk with his dad that he needed, and then he finally became good.
And a lot of people are actually confused about that. Like, some people are trying to say, "Oh, Han was a Force ghost." No,
he said it himself.
He said it. He's a memory.
He's a memory. Yeah. I'm just a memory. So,
basically, Kylo had a momentary psychotic break.
Yeah.
He was seeing shit.
He fucking grew a conscience for once. He was like, oh, wait.
It's basically Rey killed Kylo on the Death Star.
Yeah.
And brought back Ben.
Because with the quote she said. Because I feel like if that's what they're hinting at in the second one, that they loved each other, or that or they liked each other. And then the fact that she said when she stabbed him and she healed him, she was like, I did see myself with you. She was like, but it wasn't with you, it was Ben.
Well, no, and here the whole thing is it's not that she saw herself with him like in a romantic kind of sense. It's she says that she saw herself taking his hand, but not as Kylo, as Ben.
That's what I meant.
And it was more of as an ally, as your friend.
But I feel like he thought.
He was totally into her from the get go.
Yeah.
It's like ever since he cut off part of her face, or she cut off part of his face, he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna hit that."
Yeah. So when he heard that, that's what made him grow that little conscience and be like.
Because I mean, even after she was dead, the dude was groping her.
Yeah. And then so just part of his character, I don't seem to quite understand. Because it went in so many directions. Because in the first movie, of course, J.J. Abrams just set up something, and then in the second movie, Rian Johnson did his fucking thing, and then in the third movie, I feel like J.J. Abrams tried to start him over a little bit and then finish him, because if he had from this movie, if he had the same characterization all throughout, I might have been okay with him. I might have liked him a little bit, but from what I saw, it didn't seem like he deserved any sympathy at all. Because in the first movie where he's talking about like, oh, great pain, and then he just fucking kills his dad. I'm like, no, you're just a psychopath. Like, your great pain is that you want to be crazy, and nobody lets you.
I think, honestly, okay, so even though with as bad as Last Jedi was, I think the only character that was actually done justice in that movie was Kylo.
I didn't like him in there either. Cause, like I said,
but I thought he was the only one that was properly developed. Like, if they had stuck with that, so if in Episode 9, I feel like if what they had done had been, so he finds Palpatine, he realizes just how strong Palpatine still is, realizes he can't take Palpatine on his own. Because if you remember from the crawl, it's like, oh, he wants to eliminate any threat to his supreme leadership.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, I'll go find Rey and try to, he says he's going to kill her, but he tries to turn her to the dark side. I think what would have been cool was you have Kylo take Rey back with him to Exegol. They team up, kill Palpatine, and then it's them going at it as the final fight.
I wanted
without a redemption arc.
Yeah, and so I kind of thought something like that was gonna happen. Like I thought because the ending kind of got spoiled for me. Just at the fact,
it got spoiled for all three of us.
Yeah, somebody said because it was one of those people who were like really into fucking Kylo and they really wanted Rey and Kylo to be together. So they fucking made this long ass paragraph of like, oh yeah, then this happened and that. And it didn't happen as they said it did, like entirely, because they played up like it was so romantic and incredible and he this and this and I was like it didn't.
He was literally groping a dead body.
He was just being creepy. Anyway, but
what do they call that?
Necrophilia.
Yeah.
But like I knew he was making like a sacrifice or whatever. I was like, I hope. And then when the Emperor talked about like, oh, when you strike me down, all of the Sith inside of me will transfer into you.
Only
when
if you do it through hate.
When you do it, right? And then I'm like, I hope Kylo shows up, kills the Emperor, and then just fucking kills himself. And then it's just over. I'm like, sure. And I'm like, you know what? Good redemption.
I mean, that's kind of what he did.
No, he didn't. He was weird. He showed up and he was weird. Like that's just what he keeps doing. And then like I say this as a joke, but like 100% seriously, the best characterization of Kylo that makes the most sense is him in that fucking SNL skit. I think about it a lot. I told Ted this, and I'm like, I went and thought about it a little bit more. I'm like, no, that's just fucking him. He's just a fucking weirdo. People don't like him because he's not likable, and he throws tantrums and fits, and like he's just that. Like he is just not a good person.
He's an even more spoiled version of Anakin.
Exactly. Like at least Anakin was cute though. Like at least he looked cool, but Kylo looks weird and acts weird and talks weird and. Just fucking, like, there's just nothing around.
Vader's cool. Anakin's not.
Whatever.
Hey.
Kylo Ren's not cool, and Ben's not cool, so there you go.
I never said he was. Never said he was.
He sucks on both sides.
I mean, it was such a wasted potential in a character.
Yeah, it was.
Because they had set him up. Once again, it goes back to The Force Awakens. They set everything up perfectly to continue on, and then Rian Johnson just had to go fuck everybody over.
Because even if they still kept with him killing Snoke in The Last Jedi, his motivations into the next movie could have been way better. I don't understand why he would still be the main bad guy. Like, I would take antagonist, yes. I wanted to, like, if he was, like, some kind of, like, Piccolo Vegeta type character, who's like, I'm not good. By no means am I good. But I am also not trying to kill you anymore. That would have been great. Yeah. I would have liked that. Because, like, if he was still, like, plagued by, like, oh, I killed my dad and all this other stuff. Also, the crazy shit.
What if he exiles himself?
And then he exiles himself like fucking, like Luke did, and I'm like, that would have been cool.
Or even Yoda, but just like I can't hear it. Okay. Like, just like an evil, not an evil exile, but just like you're right, what you said. Like, I'm not gonna kill you no more, but I'm not good. So there's no point of me being here anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm off. That would have been so cool when everyone's cheering. At the end, when everyone's like happy, it just shows him in his TIE fighter just leaving. I don't even know where the fuck he's going, but
hell, he could even leave the galaxy.
Yeah. And then if he showed up at the end to help her fight the Emperor, I would have been like, let's go, Kylo, let's go, get it, But he didn't. He just was weird the whole fucking time. Yeah, and yeah.
And so this also brings me to like next point. Let's talk about, since we're talking about characters. So one thing I didn't like is how let's see, how do I phrase this? I didn't like how I didn't connect with any of the characters, except for probably like, I know you said you connected with one, and one I connected to just because they were funny. So like, you said you felt something when Chewie was sad.
Oh yeah. So when it's just after Leia dies, it's probably the only time I actually teared up during the movie, and they land back on wherever the planet is that the rebel or the resistance has been hiding out. And Chewie, they basically they break the news to Chewie that Leia's dead, and so it's basically like Chewie's now the last of the original group, and it's just the pain. You know, it actually felt genuine, unlike some of the other characters.
Yeah, and I didn't like how no one else did anything, but just like.
It just it felt disconnected because
especially so I would have felt something in that scene if so the camera wasn't on Chewie for any of this. Like you get his initial reaction and then it zooms out and you're looking at Finn, Poe and whatever, and then they're saying something or thinking something, and like they don't feel it at all. You know what I mean? Like they're like, oh,
well, they don't have that connection to Leia like Chewie does.
Poe should have.
Poe should have.
Because they gave him a scene. They gave him a scene right afterward where he's standing over her dead body, and he's like,
which is fucking creepy.
Which was hella fucking weird.
It didn't feel right. It felt disconnected again.
And, not even that part. Just the whole movie. Because when I got home, I thought about it. I was like, half the time they're fucking arguing.
Yes.
Half the fucking, and it's over nonsense.
In Last Jedi, him and Leia did not get along at fucking all.
Yeah. And that was like, but there's something.
Even in the Last Jedi, though, it felt more like it felt more of like a son not getting along with a mother almost.
Yeah, and then at the end, knowing their fucking mom's always right.
Yeah.
And then in this one, like I'm just like, oh, they're all fucking arguing, and they keep bringing up this stupid shit.
That was one of my fucking favorites. So I didn't like a lot of what they did with the characters. I didn't like any of the relationships they did at all because they made Finn. You said they took the focus off. They did not. No. Because it gets brought up a lot how like he has feelings for her, how he doesn't want to talk about having feelings for her.
Yeah.
How he's gonna when they were about to die, he was like, "Oh hey, I didn't tell you I like," and then they bring that up like 3 fucking times.
Yeah. And I was just like, dude, shut up.
And so like they give him that, even though they were hardcore setting up her with Kylo like most of the movie too, but then they give. And, like, I know this was, like, a thing, like, another thing that, like, a lot of the other fans wanted, where they wanted Finn and Poe to end up together. I'm like, but at the very least, they should have been, like, really great friends. Because, their relationship, the way it was established, was, like, you're my first friend. Like, after fucking leaving, you're the first friend I fucking made who wasn't, like, a fucking crazy Nazi type person.
Yeah, and I mean, he immediately makes him, after...
He gives him a name, he gives him a jacket, and I'm like...
Gives him a rank.
Yeah. Like, all this stuff. And then, like, they're fighting the whole time. They're bickering. They're always fucking saying shit. And, like, like, a little bit, like, some of it, a little bit would have been playful, because that's how Luke and Han were. And I get that maybe that's what they were trying to capture, was, like, the Luke and Han bicker, but, like... It felt like a little bit like of toxicity to it, and then at the very end where there was supposed to be this heartfelt moment where like Poe's like thinking he's like I can't do this by myself, I need Finn. He goes and tells Finn he's like you're a general too, and Finn's just like okay anyway shut up, and then he says something. I'm like what? This is supposed to be like a fucking heartfelt moment. You couldn't even give this to me. Like they're supposed to be realizing that they're friends still after all this shit that's happened in the movie, and like they can't even give me that. And then they give Poe like this fucking chick who we're supposed to care about. But I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, you're
unless they're gonna give us a show that explains the whole thing.
Yeah,
which I'm actually kind of hoping
going
that
into
they
that. There were so many characters. I understand you're trying to get rid of The Last Jedi, but there's so many characters that are brought up in The Last Jedi that are now just background characters.
Yes.
Rose is just whatever that was supposed to be. As much as I didn't like it, it's gone. She's just like, oh, hey. Wait, and then so they bring everyone, and then they bring in new characters.
They brought in a new trooper person.
Yes.
and then that's supposed to be like they're automatically friends. Finn and her are, and I'm like, but like Rose should have been here with him in the final thing because they just established their friendship.
And then that new character with the hacker dude or whatever that with Poe. They were supposed to be like, you were trying to kill me. I never liked you. I never trusted you. Oh yeah. And then so you want to kiss? Like, bro, like no. Like, don't bring in new characters to this last film you're trying to fix because the last one sucked.
Yes.
And then make me think I should care about them. No one should care about. I wrote it on Instagram. I was like, everyone they're trying to bring in people for me to care about. There's no time for that. No, there's no time for anyone to care about these people because they're gone just like that. Yeah. Yes. And then they're trying to set up. This is how they're trying to set up new Disney Plus shows because the girl at the end with Lando, come to think of it, I told you, like I said that that's her daughter. So there's a lot of Lando stuff that was cut from this that nothing makes sense, right? Because it was cut and they revised it for this. There was a whole scene where there was supposed to be Lando and this girl saying like that was supposed to be his daughter. They were supposed to say that earlier in the film, and then they were supposed to set off together at the end. But no, now you got this thing at the end that's so freaking creepy. Like
it's hella weird. It's so
Let's
weird.
find out. But it's freaking creepy, and I don't know who said that was okay compared to all the scenes.
And then the thing with Lando too was that every time he shows up, he's just smiling, and it's just like, hey, I'm here. It's me, Lando. Everything's okay. Yeah. And that's it. That's it.
He offers like one good piece of advice.
Yes.
And that was it.
And I swear to God, the thing he said was just rehashing of what somebody else had already said.
And I feel like the only reason why he's in this movie was for the ending.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they didn't know who to give that to.
Yeah.
Well, they'd already killed off Han.
Because they're like,
J.J. Abrams couldn't use Leia anymore.
J.J. Abrams is like, oh, dude, who's going to call in all these people? It can't be Finn, because Finn's over here bickering with this guy for no reason. It can't be Rey, because Rey's on the planet. Think. Solo did so bad, but there was one good person in there. Lando. He can do it. Because and that makes sense too, because when what's the guy's name who did Sidious?
Ian McDiarmid.
Oh.
He didn't know he was going to be a Sidious a year before this movie came out. So that's how I knew everything in this movie is just written so quick that no one ever thought about it.
Yeah.
So he didn't even know what he was going to do. He was like,
well, and like I was saying too, I don't know if I said this on here yet, but the fact that the Emperor was brought back, I feel they had to do because they had no fucking villain anymore.
Yeah.
Kylo couldn't do it. Kylo couldn't fit that fucking role.
No.
They killed Snoke uneventfully, like he just fucking died, and so I was like, they had no time because they were already trying to pre-establish things in this movie. That's what they were doing. They were trying to pre-establish things. They were trying to make these things already established, and that happens with so much of it. Yeah. And they're like, they could not do it with a villain who was supposed to feel like powerful and threatening, and they're like, so they had to go back somewhere. And I'm like, it's not gonna be fucking Vader. He's hella dead. We already know he's dead. He's Force Ghost dead. We've seen the ghost already, but we never saw Palpatine die. So I guess it's Palpatine.
Yeah, and then speaking of Palpatine, I don't want because I don't know.
No, it's
just like, okay, Palpatine, cool, but like in the beginning he's dead. He's basically dead. He says he's already died. He's pretty sure he can't see out his eyes. He's like hooked up to his IV.
His eyes are all fucked up.
But at this point, he's establishing that I'm so weak right now. But I'm going to lift all these Star Destroyers out from the ground, which I don't know why they're underground.
No, he doesn't lift them out of the ground. They rise up on their own.
All at once?
Yes.
Think about that. You love Star Wars. Think about
coordinated.
That.
It's
so you're telling me
the whole
like,
signal tower thing.
So you're telling me Sidious is looking at Kylo landing. Guys, get together. Get in the ships. Get ready, because when he lands in here, we're all gonna go up at the same time. Not one after another. So he's like,
not raising him up.
And then not even with that.
He's not raising him up, though.
The thing he does with the fucking lightning, like, that's stupid. That was stupid. That's the amount of power creep they're introducing in here. They're making him as strong as this is.
So if he was that strong, why couldn't he just go, Kylo, dead.
Yes.
Rey, dead.
Because he didn't want to kill Rey.
But dude, but he's trying to at the end of it.
Yeah. So, but when Rey says
rejects him.
Yes. So why doesn't he just go? All right. Yeah. Well, you're not a fucking problem anymore.
Because at that point, he's like he's in his prime now.
Yes.
Like Moro from Dragon Ball Super, he just absorbs all the energy from these people, and now he just be like, I don't need you. Death. He didn't need to toss freaking Ben off the cliff. Yeah. He could have just snapped his fingers and he'd be dead.
Fucking Thanos snapped these bitches.
He could have killed Rey right there instead of her asking for the other Jedi to come help.
Yeah.
But he could have just did it. And then why are we just shooting lightning being reflected back? Stop! You're killing yourself. That's what happened with Mace Windu. You're so stupid. You deserve
That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, what?
Stop!
Just stop the lightning. Just stop the lightning.
Stop! You killed yourself. You played yourself.
Oh my god.
If he was that strong to shoot all that lightning, why can't he just pull the lightsaber out of her hand and just start sword fighting with it? I would have accepted that.
Yeah.
He did nothing but sit in the throne, shoot up lightning, and be connected to an ivy.
Yep.
And that was your villain.
Yeah.
Kylo could have did a better job, as much as crazy stuff as
and then you're in this fucking place they are. There's like all these like cult members just lined up.
There was all these cult,
and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing?
It's a Sith choir.
No.
Yes.
He said
sure.
He said they were Sith, whatever. People who like.
I'm sorry. As soon as he said something, they all started freaking singing. It's the Sith choir.
They're chanting because they're about to transfer life force.
It's the goddamn Sith choir.
But that's another thing. If he had all those people, why did he need the First Order? Come to think of it, why did he need to do any of this? Because in the Last Jedi, in the Last Jedi, Kylo took over. No one was fighting them. No one wanted to save them. They won. They took over the galaxy. They killed Luke. No one wanted to save him.
Yes.
But at the end, he's like, I have all these Star Destroyers. I don't know what I want, but I want it all.
Yeah, and then the whole thing, like, so his whole thing was like, oh, I just want Rey so I can make the ultimate Sith, because I'm gonna die, and then she'll be the super Sith.
But somehow I cheated death and came back.
Some shit, yeah, whatever. And like, so it just doesn't, like, that doesn't make sense. And then her being a fucking Palpatine just felt fucking stupid.
Dude, everyone predicted that. I didn't care who she... Look, the only thing I liked from The Last Jedi was saying that her family was nothing.
Yes.
They preached in that one. See, that's one thing he did okay. Is that they preached that... They even said in the Force Awakens that... It's like, oh, you don't need to be a Jedi to be one with the Force. You don't need to be a Sith to be a bad guy. The Sith, the dark side of the Force and the light side of the Force can be with anybody. Mm-hmm. And then her saying, your parents are nothing. Your parents are nobody. They came from nothing. In the sense that sort of are, because Palpatine didn't give a shit about them. He killed them. But it's just that fact that the Force could have found someone to be the chosen one. The Force is alive, because they said it in Star Wars.
It would line up with what we know. I know there's all these fucking like theories about like about Anakin being made or whatever the fuck. Yeah. But like as far as the movies go, the chosen one we knew was just some fucking little slave boy who didn't fucking matter. He made pod racers or what the fuck ever. And so it would have fit thematically that she was just another bitch on a fucking desert scavenger planet, you know, and
so like they did all that, and then Kylo even said it in the second one. He was like, I don't need to be a Sith, or he didn't say that exactly, but he was like, Sith is done, as I am, I'm the one. Either I'm evil or whatever. He's just this little monologue he had. But in this one, they straight back to the very beginning. The Sith is here. I'm the Sith. You're gonna be a Sith. I need Rey to be a Sith. Dark side Sith. Jedis. And you know what also bothered me? I didn't notice it, so someone pointed it out to me. They can't get away from that Disney owns Marvel. That the whole end scene was the I am inevitable. I am Iron Man scene all over again. I am all the Sith. I am all the Jedi. And then he dies.
Yep.
It was just Avengers Endgame all over again.
It really was. Because they blew up everything.
I don't know how people can sit there and because my friends posted it and I told him I didn't like this movie. He was like, okay, LOL. But he said he cried. He loved it. It was amazing writing. But take the goggles off, because it's not. It's all handwritten in the bathroom, and J.J. Abrams was called to tell him that they fired the other guy for him to come fix this.
They just fucking put it, because you could tell it's like the fucking outline of a movie is set up, and he's just like taking post-it notes, like, okay, bam, bam.
Dude, I really
bam,
like what they
bam.
did in Avengers. Let's just copy that.
Yeah.
Let's not let him turn off his lightning. He didn't learn that from Windu. Let's just have him lift all these things up. Let's just make the Force so broken. And then going to Rey, as much as I love Rey, she's a beautiful person. But the fact that they came into this, and they even said in a Q&A about her being a Mary Sue, is why is she so strong? Like, why is she so able to do all this? He was like, we made her like that. We wanted her to be strong. We wanted her to be so fast learning the Force. We wanted to do all this. The only problem is that she didn't know where she fit in all this. Mm-hmm. Why make a character like that, knowing that she's so broken and she's doing all these things, and not until the last movie you see her training to do any of this, to be like, that's going to be what's going to be okay. that she stole the books and the Jedi stuff. And then going back to the Jedi stuff and being Force ghosts and all that. So they said that to be a Force ghost, you had to train and be so good with the Force and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So how come Kylo gets to disappear?
He didn't become a Force ghost.
No, but he disappeared.
He became one with the Force.
Qui-Gon, how? Thank you. How did he do it?
You have to do certain trainings to be able to come back from death.
Okay,
we don't see that with Kylo. He doesn't come back.
So training. So I thought, because when I thought they were healing people with the touch of everything, that has to be so. You have to be so good with the Force. You have to train so hard to do it. Kylo does it after redeeming himself for 5 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Now,
I can't.
Now you can counter argue and be like, "How does Baby Yoda do it if he's a baby?" Well, he's fucking
been alive
50
for
years
50
old.
years.
He's fucking 50 years old and one of the greatest races probably ever to be a fucking Jedi. So don't even fucking argue. You give him his chicken tendies and tell him he did a good job. But Kylo, I don't understand how he did. As much as I love
and
Kylo,
especially
Rey, we can understand because she had the books.
and she's so broken in the beginning, she could have just killed everybody if she wanted to.
Yep.
If she didn't doubt herself and want to know where are my parents or where do I fit in, and just did her job and do what the Force did and just kill and stop the bad guy. It's like that probably would have been. It's just so. That's just like. I don't understand.
There's a lot of this I don't understand. Like,
because they could easily just win. All right, Last Jedi happened. Snoke is there. He's taunting him. He kills Snoke. They could have just. It would have been so cool because a lot of people thought he was gonna get back up and put himself back together. But it would have been so cool if what's his name was the voices all the time. It would have been cool if his body got up right and just started floating there, and everyone just turned around. He'd be like, "You thought you had me," and then like his face turns into the Sidious a little bit, and then he just like burns up or just dies, and then they know Sidious is back instead of have to play Fortnite to see the trick.
And then so you know what, like, so they could have played, and like there's so much things that could have fit together so well. They could have played with the fact that what drove Kylo to kill what the fuck his name is we just said it. The villain who Snoke, the villain who doesn't matter. Was this like, because like Snoke was like saying like, oh, I own him. He's like my fucking lapdog or whatever. And then Kylo's wanting to be his own person. And then Rey's on the same fucking journey of like, oh, I'm so worried about who my parents are and where I am and what I am. And then we could have had these two fucking journeys that mirrored each other on opposite sides. Yeah. And then thematically ended in the same place. And it would have just...
Then I would have believed the Force link.
Exactly.
I would have believed it.
Absolutely.
Not because they're saying, oh, this only happens every 1,000 years with someone, but now it's splitting.
And then they brought that up just to be here, for this fucking movie. Yeah. Like, it's never brought up anywhere else. They're like, oh yeah, Jedi can do this thing or what the fuck ever, and it makes them super strong or what the fuck. And then they just say it, and I swear to God, it's only like a few minutes before it fucking matters that this is a thing. Or he's like, oh yeah, because you guys are so strong, I can drain your energy and whatever.
Yes.
What the fuck? Like, why? There's just so much work that needs to be done on this movie. Like, these movies,
they really
as a whole, and they need to take note of all these things before they try and come back to it. And then one thing I'm gonna say if we return to Star Wars movies in general, like me and Ted have both said, like, we need to stay away from chosen ones, stay away from like balance of good and evil, like just all of
just let it be a movie.
Yeah, like just like the reason the Mandalorian is so good is because we're not concerned. Like, of course, there's a bad guy in the Empire or whatever.
Yeah, that's not Boba Fett's cousin twice removed.
Yeah, and of course, like, his goal, like, there's still like an antagonist in this, but like his goal isn't like, I'm going to crush the Empire and take it down and free everybody. It's like, no, I like this kid. I don't want him to die. I'm going to do what I need to get that done. And like the thing with Rogue One, like even Rogue One, that even though it was tied to this whole fucking thing, like was that like these characters were just doing their job and everything, and it felt like we weren't dealing with like, oh, chosen one with all these crazy powers and shit and like the training and the prophecies and whatever. Like, no, this is just our last hope. We're just doing what we think we can do to turn the tide, and like we know they're going to. Like, we know the outcome here, but we're like seeing these people's struggles
Yeah.
Especially not being like Jedis, not being like ace pilots or some shit. Like they're just like fucking regular dudes who are just in the shit, and then they all die at the fucking end.
Like so many, like Star Wars Clone Wars does it good. Star Wars Rebels does it good. I haven't seen all of it, but whatever I did see clips of it, did it good. Of just being in the universe of it all and being on the way, but no one. I mean, the characters come, but they're not there the whole time. It's just about the main characters.
Yeah.
And they do such a good job at it. But then when you go to the movies, I'm like, oh, this has to be a Skywalker. This has to be Anakin. This has to be Luke. This has to be Leia.
Palpatine.
Has to be Palpatine. Has to be Han and Solo and Chewbacca. But no, once I feel like 7 years, they should. I mean, they shouldn't make another movie for 7 years, but they should start writing a new one without everyone in it.
Yes. I want it to be like a far off in the future.
I don't even want to see the scrolls come down, even mention anything that happened.
Yes, I don't want to talk about Rey. I don't want to talk about
I just want it to be like, one day this happened.
like years later, the Jedi Order is non-existent. Sith aren't real, but like the Force still travels mysteriously through people, and I'm like, oh, cool, awesome. So like, there's still stuff I'm familiar with, but we're in brand new territory as well. Things we're exploring, you know, like. I don't know. We're done. It's done. I'm tired.
How did you guys feel with the last scene when Rey said she was a Skywalker?
I thought it was stupid.
It was whatever.
I thought, because then I'm just like, I mean, I get it. They're like, oh, I feel like they adopted me because I went through so much already.
Yeah, I get why they did it. It wasn't necessary.
She was.
There
it would have been cool.
There wasn't enough build up for that specifically. Like there wasn't like enough of a bond between any of them.
She had more of a connection with Leia, but we never really understand why.
Mm-hmm.
It's never gone into in depth. Even in the book Resistance Reborn, it's just not gone into in depth.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been cool if she said, because whatever, that lady asked her, "Who are you?" Right?
Yeah.
And she said Rey. Did she ask for last name?
She goes, "Rey who?"
Yeah, and then it would have been like, anyone I can be, anyone I want to
Yeah.
be. That would have been cool.
Or no, it would have been like, just Rey.
Well,
I'm just Rey.
It could be anyone she can be, because she could have been a Palpatine, she could have been a Skywalker,
Yeah, like
she could have been nobody, but she wanted to be whoever she wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was. But then you would have thought what the name was, because like the idea of renaming the Jedi the Skywalkers.
I thought that would have been neat.
That would have been neat.
That would have been interesting, yeah.
Just to rebuild it all, because there was negatives with the Jedis, there was negatives with the Sith. Something where you can be the middle ground, like not the Grey Jedi, but like a middle ground, the Skywalkers, because they're not perfect, they're not good, but they're not evil.
Yeah, and then just
you don't have to be a Jedi. You can be Force sensitive and trained to be something else.
Yeah, because I like the idea that the Force is just a part of life, and that there are things that you could see as negative or positive or evil and good, but sometimes they are just forces of nature. You know what I mean? Like and like it would just push a new era of understanding of what the Force is, and then any movies that come after that could be so open-ended with how you deal with the Force as a power, as like a living thing. Like it's just
because
so much.
Because with the Force Awakens, you get hints that there's theories that what snapped Finn out of his little brainwashing was the Force, and he was Force sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you get a little bit more of that in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, but you don't get none of that in The Last Jedi.
No, not at all.
But
they just completely skip over that.
And then in the Rise of Skywalker, you get it, but no one's like, how do you know that? Are you Force sensitive? Like, but you know what I mean? Like, it could be anybody. Anyone could be Force sensitive. Anybody.
Because I mean, even people are even saying that like Han is Force sensitive, at least a little bit. You know, like
that's why he was such a great pilot, or that's why he was a good smuggler, because he already knew.
I mean, if you take Solo, we know why he's actually as good a pilot as he is because he's got a droid in his computer.
Yeah. But it's just like, dude, like.
But yeah, no, yeah, they just completely skipped over it in Last Jedi for some reason.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't. Once again, there's that disconnect. You know,
and I'm not saying it was JJ. It's not JJ Abrams' fault.
No, he was honestly.
He did the best.
He was doing the best he could to try and fix what Rian Johnson screwed up.
As much as we're ragging on it, I liked it, but I didn't love it. And it's not JJ Abrams' fault.
And so that's something I'll say is that, and this is true.
I'll probably buy it on DVD.
Yeah, this is true for a lot of things. Is that like when people boo something, it's because they want to cheer. And I so much wanted to love this movie.
Yes, I did too.
I bought the fucking the bucket and the cup, and I wanted to love this movie.
Put that picture on the screen. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I spent $25 to get the fucking bucket and the cup.
Oh, I do. I'll send it right now.
Right, and I was like, I wanted to sit down in this movie and enjoy it. Like, there's a certain like for me personally, because I'm a fucking asshole. But there's an enjoyment I get from
for me
tearing shit down. But wholeheartedly, when I go in to see something, I want to just sit and I want to just be like, I just want to fucking sit and be happy and enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have to shift into the mode of like, why is this happening? What the fuck is going on? What the hell? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have to sit there and critique this, but like, it put me in that mode almost immediately. And I'm like, I enjoyed it from that aspect that I got that there was a lot to see that I needed to like fucking try and make sense of in my head. But I wanted to just sit and have the whole movie happen without me having to fucking question something or like doubt something. You know, like I want to just take it in. But I was not able to.
Yeah, because I even said I tried to look for the post myself before I wrote the post. I think I wrote it on my personal Instagram. But I was like, I want to leave The Rise of Skywalker being like, okay, I understand the last one was not that great. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to leave knowing that, all right, they did a great enough job to end it for me. But I still feel like it's there. I feel like he, like you said, or one of you guys said, he feel like he had to rewrite 8 and then 9 at the same time. I feel like there should be another movie to explain the outcome, but there's not going to be. That, and I don't feel like it should be feel like that. Like I don't, cause so like I know Josh tried to say I was biased because of The Last Jedi, but I just want to sit here and understand when someone says this movie, like my friend or the guy, to sit there and say like I cried, I loved it, I was happy. Like I don't know how you could say that.
And like, but here's the thing though, like, you can't deny that Last Jedi has tainted your opinion a little bit.
No, because like even like with it, because it's just like I don't know, because I like everything else. Like everything else is I like it. Like I like this movie.
Yeah,
it's just like I don't understand, like because it was just a dumb idea for them to pick different directors.
Yeah. So if I was to watch these movies, if I was to just like put it on, I'll put it on for sure. Fine, Star Wars is on, whatever. I will not turn it off, you know. I don't dislike it that much, but I'm not gonna take the time out of my day to go watch Star Wars. I'm not gonna sit and stare at the screen again because I'm like, I already know I didn't enjoy it that much. But there are movies where I'm like, this is like the 10th time I've watched it. I'm gonna put it on and I'm gonna stare intently. I'm gonna pay attention because this movie does things for me. You know, Star Wars is not that right now. Like it just really isn't. If people come over, like if I'm having like a family thing at my house and I need background noise, like put on Star Wars. We'll all watch Star Wars. We are familiar enough with Star Wars. That's a common ground for people. You know what I mean? So like, it's something you can put on, but like it could have just been so much better. Like there's just, I'm just let down. Like
it's just a letdown.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. There are movies that I hate. Like Ted said, I would give this about a 5.
I give it a 5.
It's incredibly, like, that's neutral for, like, if you were to look at it on a scale, but, like, it just is. It's just a movie. It's fine.
Yeah, and I agree with what both of you guys are saying. I think they need to leave Star Wars, or at least the main cinematic franchise. I think they need to leave it alone for a little bit.
The Ben Kenobi series is coming to Disney Plus. Please let me have it.
Yeah,
just let me have it.
I would honestly.
That's one person that I feel like should have a story.
I so want to see a live action version of the lightsaber duel, the final lightsaber duel that we got between Kenobi and Maul in Rebels.
Yeah,
I think that'd be so epic.
Yeah, that was cool.
Because I mean, even in Rebels, it was done incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because of course Rebels is a direct offshoot of Clone Wars, and it's done pretty much by all the same people.
Yeah,
the art style is a little different, but it's pretty much done by all the same people, and they did a wonderful job. Whoever did the show after that was just
What was the one after that?
I don't even remember.
They looked like clip art, huh?
Yeah, it looked terrible.
And it was only like 5. They were only like 5 minutes long. It's like the stories of, and it was like a Ray.
It was more like the first Clone Wars show that we got way back in the early 2000s.
That one was good.
That one, it was good. But what I'm saying is the art style, the animation style is similar. But
like,
that Clone Wars was amazing.
Now go back and like. For them to do movies and stuff, like let's get something about like Yoda's race and what happened, or let's go like Ahsoka. Well, Ahsoka's getting her own in the Clone Wars show because
her story's getting continued.
Yeah, because when the Clone Wars comes back, the animated show, it's gonna be based off the book that the creator of that show and Rebels made of Ahsoka's story. It's gonna be the whole first part.
Right.
So she's getting her own story.
And I hope they. If they go long enough, I hope we get more to the Battle of Coruscant, like everything that led up to the Chancellor being kidnapped and stuff.
I like to see.
Because we got that in the original Clone Wars show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because another thing we got in the original Clone Wars is Dooku's beginnings. I would like to see a live action. Oh, the guy's. Oh my God, he's gone.
Oh yeah, he's dead. That sucks. He was such.
Did
a
he
good
pass
Never
away?
mind. Yes.
Yeah. Sir, what's his name?
Oh my goodness!
I forgot all about that. I was about to say I would love to see a live action of him.
So Saruman is dead.
Saruman, yeah, he's dead.
Well, they can do what they did in Solo and like get like a younger guy to do it, but he was Dooku.
You'd have to find somebody who can almost exactly mimic the voice.
Yeah,
and that's fucking impossible. He had such
they really got lucky with whoever they picked to play Tarkin.
Yeah,
like they really got lucky.
Because I would love to see his very, very beginnings as a kid up to when he was Yoda's disciple, up to like when he decided to be a Sith or be evil.
Well, and there's a book called Dooku.
Yeah, I know.
That details all of that.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna buy those because I want to buy Ahsoka's, even though I'm starting this thing with my kids where we read for like 15 minutes. And I'm just off topic, but I'm reading the Avatar Kyoshi book that I bought during the summer, and we're reading it. I want to do that, and where I buy the books and I actually read it before the stuff comes out, so I can be like, okay, compare it and then review it.
And I know some of the Legends books are like really long, and of course some of the series are really long, but they really are worth it. Like, especially the basically the final 2 series of the Legends universe. It's
hurting my ears.
Basically the 9-book series where Jason Solo goes to the dark side, and then the aftermath of that. They are so incredibly well done. They're done by, I think, both series are done by the same 3 authors. So like, because it's 9 books, each one does 3 books. So they would go one author, another author, and then another author, and then they'd start over.
Yeah.
So kind of like the whole director thing.
Yeah, I like Master and Student, or whatever, the one with Qui-Gon and Ben.
Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan?
Yeah, that one that came out
not
too long ago. I would like to see that one.
It was basically their origin story.
Yeah, I would like to see that as well, because I found out a lot of stuff about Qui-Gon, which I thought was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And Mace Windu.
There's like a kids novel series that and it's Legends now, but it's of like a mission that Obi-Wan took on while he was exiled on Tatooine. He actually leaves Tatooine and basically takes another student.
Oh, wow.
And they end up, I think in several different points, they end up, or the student at least, ends up in confrontation with Darth Vader. Yeah. And so it's actually, it's a really good series. So you might try to look that up. But, and of course, I think there's a Kenobi book.
Yeah, there
too,
is.
That's actually canon, though.
Yeah, but actually, yeah.
That tells a little bit of his stuff.
What I'm trying to get from this is that I feel like there's so much other things they can touch on before they start anything with a main storyline anymore.
Yeah.
There's so much.
Like I said, they need to give it a break.
Now that Legends is like gone, Right, well, it's always been gone, right, since this come out. But since it's gone,
Which was probably the worst thing they ever did.
they can just touch on everything else that we don't have answers or questions to, or we don't know about. Like, all I know is about what Star Wars Theory and Stupendous Way, whatever his name is, talks about like Qui-Gon and Mace Windu and their saber styles and where they came from. There's so much I want to know about them that obviously I'm not going to open a book and read.
Yeah.
That they could just focus on. And just do that.
Yeah, and they do a lot of that on their channels.
Yeah, and like, well, I would like them to like do that in movies or some Disney Plus series.
Yeah, I want to see some of the things that like.
I actually would. Not.
Yes, I want to see some of the things that are like talked about in like Star Wars canon, but we don't actually get to see, like making a lightsaber. I want to see that happen on screen. I want to know what that looks like.
Yeah,
you know,
I wouldn't be against seeing like early days of the Jedi kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like the founding of the Jedi Order.
I would like to see some really old stuff. Like,
or maybe even
like
something like something about Darth Revan.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Well, I mean, he's technically Legends, but he's also not.
Is he in Knights of the Old Republic?
Yep. Actually, that's where he's originally from. Yeah. And then, of course, he's in the MMO game. There's several books about him.
Wait, what's the MMO called?
Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Oh, it's just the Old Republic. Okay.
Yeah. There's 2 Knights of the Old Republic games.
Yeah,
which focus on
BioWare.
Yeah, which is who did the MMO.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's why they have the rights to have him in there.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
But yeah, no. But the Knights of the Old Republic focus in on Revan, whereas Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO, is just your brand new. Unrelated character.
You heard that too, right?
Yeah, I was
okay. It's interference from the phones.
Oh,
probably somebody had it too close to their mic and it picked up the signal.
So,
but anyways.
Well, with that being said, because I don't know how long
we're off the topic of the movie.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was just.
I mean, we're still
ideas.
on. Hey, give us credit. We're at least still on Star Wars.
yeah. Star Wars. Yeah. We need to get back into Game of Thrones this time.
I was thinking about it.
Yeah, let's not. Let's not.
So. As a fan of Star Wars, I did not like this movie. I mean, I liked this movie, but I didn't love it. It wasn't a hit.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
I enjoyed it. I found some things that I didn't care for, but overall, I still had a good experience with it.
Mm-hmm. It was alright. It's alright.
You got a free popcorn bowl out of it. And I got a free cup out of it.
I paid money for the popcorn.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
You didn't get free nothing.
You got a free cup.
You got a free experience.
Oh, yeah. I didn't pay money to watch the movie, so it's fine. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have to pay for it, sure, it's worth it.
It's going to be on Netflix, just how, like, The Last Jedi was just only one on Netflix.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, sure, if you don't have to pay for it, watch it, it's fine.
It'll be on Disney Plus.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So is that about it?
Yeah, I think that's about it.
I think we're kind of all we're a little worn out on this subject.
If I come up with any more shit to say, I'll post it on Instagram or something. I don't know.
All right. Well, let us know if you guys plan on going to see the movie. If you've already seen it, what did you think? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Did you like the movie as a whole? Leave that down in the comments, and also don't forget to put a like on the video and subscribe. We need as much support as you guys can give us, especially in these tumultuous times on YouTube.
Trying times.
Yeah. Damn Empire. But thank you again for joining us. We love you guys. And until the next one, we'll see you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.